iPhone 5S versus OnePlus 3T speed test coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up guys, Nick here helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the iPhone 5S versus the OnePlus 3T speed test. Now I know what some people are thinking already. Oh my god, this video is not fair. Here he goes again comparing an old smartphone to a new one. Well, I got news for you. Some people have an iPhone 5S and they're looking for an upgrade, and the 3T is a cheaper smartphone, especially if you get it used or refurbished, and they might be wanting to finally make the jump to Android or updating to a powerful yet affordable smartphone. So the OnePlus 3T does feature the Snapdragon 821 CPU with 6 gigabytes of RAM, 16 megapixel rear camera, 16 megapixel front facing camera, Android 7.1 Nougat, and that's a huge update from your Apple A7 chipset with 1 gigabyte of RAM there on the iPhone 5S. So let's begin with the boot up test of both of these devices in 3, 2, let's go. And the OnePlus 3T does rock the Snapdragon 821 as I talked about earlier, and it does have a 1920 by 1080p display. Now the Apple iPhone 5S is a very small screen and it's pushing a low resolution, so I mean theoretically you would think that it would be pretty powerful for its size, but it's getting quite slow here in 2017. Now it is a 64-bit chipset, so it might run pretty well in single core tasks even though it's late here in 2017 or middle 2017. So you see the OnePlus 3T is well ahead of your iPhone 5S, so if you are thinking about an update, just know that you're going to boot up much faster on your OnePlus 3T. You see the 5S is now ready. That was about 20 seconds different there on that test. Now in terms of the general UI, the iPhone 5S shockingly feels very smooth even here in 2017. It does stutter from time to time on things like that. You've seen that little lag there on the control center, and it does stutter from time to time in the operating system when you're running it heavily, whereas the OnePlus 3T can pretty much handle anything you throw at it. I mean, we would expect that with a ridiculous amount of RAM at 6 gigabytes on the OnePlus 3T. But let me go ahead and confirm the software before I do hop into the application speed test. So the iPhone 5S is running, in fact, iOS 10.3.2, the official release. So you can see right here, iOS 10.3.2. Now the OnePlus 3T is running Oxygen OS 4.1.3 with Android 7.1 Nougat combined. So it's just a skin on top of Android. It's a very, very light skin. It's very much like stock Android, just with a little more customization, kind of like what Motorola does on their side of things. Alright guys, so how I'm going to go ahead and conduct this app speed test is I am going to hit the play button here while it's going to run a stopwatch, and I'm going to go run through these applications here. So everything is closed out here on the 5S. Let's also take a look at the battery life. This might be an indicator of how good the battery life is. 93% there on the 5S. I'm going to speed it up here once I begin. So 3, 2, go. Alright guys, so you can see that the iPhone 5S finished up the test in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Now due to possible user error or possibly my finger missing it by some milliseconds, I am going to shave off 5 seconds. We're going to call it 2 minutes and 10 seconds. But that's pretty close to accurate onto how the iPhone 5S is going to perform here. Now taking a look at the battery life, we did stay at 93 and we went down to 90%. So it took off about 3% here for the iPhone 5S. So let's see what happens with the OnePlus 3T now. Alright guys, so you can see everything is closed out here on the OnePlus 3T. The battery life is currently at 93%. So just like the iPhone 5S, I'm going to hit the stopwatch and I'm going to speed up this video. Go. Alright guys, so the OnePlus 3T is now done at 1 minute and 16 seconds. Again, I'm going to shave off another 5 seconds to make this a bit fair, based on the fact that I might have tapped it, wrong or did something that making the time a little bit longer. So I'm going to give it at 1 minute 11, 1 minute 10 seconds. So about a minute faster running through this test, which is a huge update over the iPhone 5S in speed, and you've seen it only drop 1% in my testing. So this went ahead and showed that the OnePlus 3T is the monster on paper that it says over the iPhone 5S. Also, it shows that the OnePlus 3T does better job at draining battery life. 3400 milliamp hour battery, less than an 1800 milliamp hour battery there on the iPhone 5S. That's not the only thing we could test here. What about the multitasking between both devices? So let's head into the iPhone 5S and the OnePlus 3T and see how they do with RAM management. Let's go into a Pi Geek, and you've seen the OnePlus 3T is ahead of the 5S there. Let's go into the next one, and I hope the OnePlus 3T beats it in every round here. And it looks like it does. So you see the 5S took a screenshot but wasn't ready to go. The OnePlus 3T is ahead on every test so far. Let's go into a few more applications. Let's try Play Store, App Store. And you can see again with the screenshot, the reload on the 5S. So the OnePlus 3T there again. Let's go into, let's see, YouTube right here. So you can see again with the screenshot, the 5S actually wins that one. So not bad there for the 5S. So the 5S is not a horrible RAM management smartphone, seeing as it's so old now here in 2017. Let's go into Facebook. You can see the 5S was ready to go there first. So I'm definitely going to call it the win to the OnePlus 3T when it comes to multitasking. But the 5S holds its own for being such an old smartphone. And last but not very least, let's test the camera speed on both of these guys right here in 3, 2, 1. And you can see the OnePlus 3T can snap a picture very fast. The software looks very, very identical to what you get on the iPhone series of smartphones. But yeah, that's pretty much it here between the iPhone 5S. Like I say, I created this video for those of you out there who are upgrading from a 5S. This is not to compare them in the sense of go out and to buy one. And a lot of people don't get that when they comment things like, oh man, this doesn't make sense. This ain't a fair comparison. No, it's not a fair comparison, but this is for upgraders. This is not to tell you to buy a 5S or a OnePlus 3T. That would make no sense to tell you to buy a 5S over a 3T. This is simply for people upgrading, want to see what they're going into when they get the OnePlus 3T. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor, click the like button for me. Nick here helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next one, and peace.